Hi, I'm Chike Coleman. Chuck Kaplinski will be coming shortly. This is Real Reviews of the Cinematic Underground, the show where we talk about the movies that are in theaters and on DVD, and we also talk a little bit of The Flash and Better Call Saul. This week's movies are going to be Cinderella, What We Do in the Shadows, and Wild Tales. First, I'm going to start off with my opinions on the Kenneth Branagh directed film Cinderella. Now, everybody who had a chance to be a child at some point and had the chance to have Disney VHSs is familiar with the classic Cinderella story of the fact that Cinderella is just a young woman who is treated poorly by her stepsisters, wants to go to this ball where a prince is. The prince basically says the ball is open to everybody, and so Cinderella fashions a dress that she finds fabric for with the help of her mice friends, and she goes to the ball after her evil stepmother and stepsisters tear up the dress she made. Through the help of her fairy godmother, she meets the prince, they dance all night, they fall in love, and then she has to run away because the spell that the fairy godmother cast ends at midnight. And basically after that, Cinderella goes home and knows that the prince is scouring the city for her, basically, and the stepmother and stepsisters are doing everything they possibly can to make sure that the prince doesn't find her, and the prince finds her anyway, and they live happily ever after. Essentially, the one big difference between this new take on Cinderella, in that it's a live-action remake, is the fact that we get to spend a little bit more time with Cinderella's mother and father before they pass on, so we really get a feeling of their personalities, and we really get a feeling for the stepmother and stepsister's personalities. Before, they were just carbon copy characters of evilness. Now we get to see a bit of a dimension to why they're as bad as they are, and we still have other little nice touches that were from the original Disney movie, like the inclusion of Lucifer the cat. I thought that was very well done. The production design in the film was great. I really thought that they chose really great actresses for the part. Cate Blanchett as the evil stepmother, fantastic in the role. A very regal Meryl Streep type actress that they chose for that role. They also have Helena Bonham Carter as the fairy godmother, which I always thought was going to be an interesting choice and a unique choice. And I think that that works really well here. The really great part of the film, I think, is we also get a little insight into the prince's father and the captain of the guard. They actually feature far more prominently than they did in previous Cinderella iterations. I really liked the production design in this film, and it was very true to the original film, and I think that one of the unique things that really sold me on the film was not only the production design, but the unique direction by Kenneth Branagh. And I think the film does a lot more to enhance the animated version of the 1940s film than to really make something of its own. But I do like how the prince and Cinderella meet on this occasion for the film. And I think that the film is really unique in that way, and that you really get to see more of the dynamics between the prince, who actually has a name this time around, than you did in previous iterations. I really enjoyed this film, and now that Chuck Kaplinski has made his arrival, I'm going to find out what his thoughts are on the new Cinderella film. Chuck, what did you think of the new Cinderella film?
See, I told you, and you didn't want to watch it.
I know, it was really unique
really
and
good.
entertaining.
I liked it because it's more of a humanistic approach. I mean, they tell it as realistically as you possibly can during the first hour, and I liked that. Because it makes the tragedy that surrounds Cinderella that much more meaningful. And also it makes the fantastic elements, once they kick in, that much more magical. And the girl, boy, this girl, Lily James, she's wonderful. I mean, not only beautiful, but it's hard to play a character as pure as Cinderella and not come off as naive or stupid.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. I mean, she comes off as a genuine human being, which makes us care for her even more.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things that made the emotions of the film work so well for me, is because her character was just so genuine and had such a kindness to her. And it also helps that we got to see a little bit of the mother and father.
Correct.
Because we didn't get that in the previous version.
And in a similar vein, you mentioned the prince. We also get more of the prince and the king, played by Derek Jacobi.
Yeah.
And their relationship is really cool as well. It's genuine. It's real. And you realize that this is a prince that deserves her.
Yeah.
He's not just the guy who rides in and I'm handsome, I'm going to say
I'm handsome and I'm rich and I want to, no.
He's a real person too. So just grounding it in reality, I think, was a master stroke. And as you say, it's also a gorgeous film to look at. I really liked it.
Right, and I think it was, the screenplay was by Chris Weitz.
Right.
And I know he's done stuff before, but I can't put my finger on it.
About a Boy
was
his big one. And this is a guy who graduated from the American Pie films. That's how he and his
That's
brother,
what it was. He did the American Pie
right,
films.
and this is about as far away from that as you can think of.
Really?
But About a Boy was his big transition to more adult type and more meaningful films. And yeah, he does a great job with the script here.
Really enjoyed the film. And I would recommend it to girls everywhere because it shows how kind and genuine and courageous someone can be in the worst of circumstances.
And not be a doormat.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be a doormat to have those qualities.
I agree.
Yeah.
Great film, and your review hasn't come out yet, I don't think.
Yeah, it has. I gave it 3.5.
Okay, 3.5?
Out of 4.
All right. So the next one I wanted to talk about is from the Art Theater, and it's entitled Wild Tales. This is a series of 6 short films, basically surrounding one idea of kind of, if you're mean to someone, there's going to be some sort of a revenge. I don't really know how to describe. How do you safely describe that?
Well, I think the whole thing about the film is indicated in the opening credits. The opening credits, you alternate between pictures of predators in nature and prey. You get lions and tigers.
And zebras.
And bears, and then zebras and antelopes. And that's the clue that these characters in the film are all going to be reduced to their most basic animal savagery instincts, and they're going to kick in. And most of these, all of these hinge on irony and coincidence.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
All of them do. And they all have humor that's as black as a cup of black coffee at the bottom of a coal mine.
It's as black as it can get.
Yeah, so if you're not into black comedy, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you are, I think there's some brilliant examples here.
I ate this film up. It was literally one of my favorite things I've seen this year so far, even though it came out last year and was nominated for a foreign language Oscar. They want to take the shorts one by one?
It's up to you.
Do
we have another movie to talk about, or is this it?
Well, we do, yeah.
Good, because I want to make sure we cover it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, basically, brief summary. The first short is about an airplane coincidence with a model who finds out that there are several people on the plane connected to someone she knows.
Everyone.
Without giving too much away.
Yeah, it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's 1 degree of separation. Everybody on the plane knows somebody who happens to be the pilot of the plane.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And that's fantastic. The second short following that involves a waitress and her chance to get vengeance on someone who hurt her earlier on in life. And that has a unique ending that I don't hate, but I don't love either, because she didn't take matters into her own hands, and I thought she...
But she didn't stop it either.
Oh, that is good. Okay, I will give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. The third short involves a... what do you want to call this guy? A bomb?
I'm just saying, an incident of road rage that gets completely out of hand.
Yeah, an incident of road rage that you have a chance to walk away from this clean.
Yeah, it's my favorite one.
Yeah,
especially because of the ending.
The ending is great.
Yeah.
The ending is great.
Yeah.
And how that film progresses, how that short film progresses, is genius.
Yeah, and it also is a commentary on class warfare as well.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
very much so.
There's your subtext, because you've got, obviously, I don't even know if we use the term yuppie anymore.
Yeah.
But someone who's quite well-to-do and someone who has nothing, and it doesn't end well.
Oh, and my favorite part is what he does on the window shield.
Yes. Yes.
That's so great. So the next one after that is about a bomber.
Right.
and the injustice he faces. I actually called you after this one, and I was like, how is that possible?
A civil terrorist.
A civil terrorist.
That one reminded me, I don't know if you remember the old Michael Douglas film, Falling Down.
No.
About a normal guy who has the worst day in his life. One thing piles on after another, and he just snaps. And that's what this one reminded me of, too.
And it's so great. So well done.
Yeah.
The next one I don't like as much. It started to slide a little bit for me, and it started with this one. The next one involves a well-to-do person, a young person, who has an incident.
Hit and run accident.
That has very disastrous consequences for him.
Well, because his parents try to cover it up.
Yeah, and they do everything they can to cover it up, and bad things still result in the end.
Right.
And the final short of the film, which I, like you, really hate.
I didn't hate it, it just wasn't as good as the others.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
Involves a wedding that we actually get to witness, and something that's revealed during that wedding that we also witness, and then something else that happens
The
while that
bride
wedding is going on.
finds out her husband has been unfaithful
And-
with someone who's been invited to the wedding.
And the car crash of what happens after that is magnificent.
Yeah.
But how they ended, I don't like.
I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting film, and whenever you have, we don't get films like this often, omnibus films where, it's various short things that add up to one. You're always going to have a hit and miss quality to them. There's no way that
They can
they're
all be
gonna
great.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way they structured it, because I felt as you, with the fifth one, the hit and run, it's okay, but it's not as good as the others. And
Yeah.
then the wedding one is just okay too. I would think that you would want to sprinkle the okay ones throughout and then end with one of the stronger
And I'm like,
ones.
how could you play the coincidence up better with those final two films?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like they're together with the rest of what's happened.
They are a little bit disjointed, right? Although the only thing I could look at to connect the one with the hit and run would be also with the road rage one, as far as a class warfare thing, because there's that there as well.
There is that connection, but that's literally the only straw I could
I
grasp
agree.
on that one.
I agree. But still, a good movie, a really good movie.
Really good movie. Next, I want to talk about Jermaine Clemens' film, What We Do in the Shadows. And the first thing I'm really going to say about this is, I want this to be a TV series.
This is my favorite movie out right now.
I want this to be a TV series so much. Basically, I'm gonna dumb this film down for people.
Well, you don't have to dumb it down, but it's a simple premise.
Okay, imagine if the real world were
There are vampires.
were a reality show, but with vampires, and they all have varying things that they like to do, varying qualities, and they all have a unique history. All of which is expressed really well early on in the film.
Yeah, this is a mockumentary. It's about 4 vampires who live in New Zealand, and a documentary film crew gets the permission from them to chronicle what their life is like. The documentary film crew all wear crucifixes. They have been promised that they will not be attacked or bled
Yeah.
to death, which is a key thing. So we see how these 4 vampires
Live.
live their night-to-night existence. And of course, it reminded me very much of The Odd Couple, because even though there's 4 instead of 2, the varying personalities clash at every turn.
Yeah, they really do, and it's superb. It's really superb.
Very funny. But not only funny, but very smart.
Very smart. They play on every possible little thing that you could possibly think of. Their inferiority to technology,
Yes?
which is played to great effect when they actually meet a human who can help them with that, and their discoveries are fantastically hilarious.
Yeah, and the human is named Stu, and because he can help them, they repeat throughout the film. Yeah, Stu's okay.
Stu's okay. He's a
okay.
good guy.
He's good. Yeah, so they don't bleed him to death. He
Right.
can come and go as he pleases.
Okay, I have to say this. My favorite moment of the film is something early on. The dishes. He hasn't done the dishes in 5 years.
In 5 years, yeah. And yeah, the fastidious vampire complains that the other vampires don't do their bloody dishes. They don't put down towels or papers in the living room when they bring someone over to bleed to death, and it makes a mess. We see him floating around the house with the vacuum,
Yeah.
vacuuming. Yeah, so he's the Felix of the crew.
Yeah.
And then there's the 8,000-year-old
Year-old
vampire who lives in the
Oscar.
basement, Pater, and he's a crab.
You never hear him do anything, really.
Yeah, I think he's so old that he just doesn't speak anymore. And I love how they have him made up like Nosferatu.
Yeah, I
from
love
the
that reference
1920
too.
Yeah, when you wake him up, you've got to bring down a chicken or something because he's hungry
He's hungry
all the time.
Yeah. and something happens to that particular
Yeah,
character that's
poor guy.
like I actually felt sad. I was actually sitting there like, oh, but why?
Well, and that's the thing about the film. I mean, not only is it funny, but it humanizes these vampires. The one vampire, the fastidious one, is in love
Yeah.
with the one woman who got away, and she's old now in an old folks' home, but he hovers outside her window every night to watch her.
Yeah.
When they figure out the computer thing, the first thing they ask to see are short films of sunrises because they've forgotten what it's like.
Yeah.
You like them. And you feel for them.
Very likable characters. I hated when they brought in the very young vampire.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like,
but,
oh, he's such a dick, though.
But he's necessary to the plot because he has to make the mistakes that they have to deal with.
Yeah, and I love the whole buildup of the beast.
Yeah, we hear about this creature called the Beast, and then when we find out what the Beast is,
We're just like, really? Okay, fine. Of course it's that. Of course.
Yeah, we all have our Beast.
Yeah, we all have our beast. Just a really great, very funny film that everybody who is over the age of, I would say 13,
Yeah,
can enjoy.
yeah, I would say that. I mean, 13-year-olds see things today that we never would have seen, so even though the violence that's in there and the blood, I think, would be mild to them.
I love the person that's their familiar that basically does their laundry and stuff.
Yeah, I think Julia or whatever, she wants to be turned. And
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, whenever they go out, it seems that they always run into this gang of werewolves.
Yeah.
Who are like a street gang in leather jackets.
It's like South Side Story.
West Side Story, yeah.
West Side Story, sorry.
Yeah, they always are posturing that,
Yeah.
nothing ever is
Like, what
going
do you
to
want?
happen.
Nothing ever really happens.
Yeah. So an imaginative,
And
smart, funny film. And the other thing I liked about it is it's only 85 minutes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's one joke after another. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that begs to be rewatched as well.
It fires on all cylinders, and it's a vampire movie you're going to want to watch again. And can I just say, what happens to Stu at the end? Great.
Yeah, great.
Just great.
Yeah. Like I say, it's my favorite movie out right now. Right now, it's maybe my favorite movie of the year, even though we've only been about 3 months into it. I got a kick out of this, and I'll watch it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, can I? I just want to mention one more moment because there are just so many. The one where that main character you were talking about, who we're introduced to in the film, gets his servant back. And,
Yes.
And that moment is priceless.
Yes, yes.
Just a really great laugh out loud film. Now we have a ton to talk about in terms of television as well.
I guess we do.
We do, because oh my gosh, so much happened in the last couple weeks. The Flash came back.
Came back with a vengeance.
With a vengeance, so boldly.
And it's an episode that is so well done and has so many big moments. It's the sort of thing that you would expect from the last episode of a season to leave you in a cliffhanger, anticipatory thing. But they come back with this, and they've left so much open for however they're going to end this season that I cannot wait for the next weeks that are coming.
I don't even know. Like, I know the trickster is involved, but like, that must mean that
I'm not even worried about the villains. I mean,
I'm happy. I'm really just happy.
I mean, the way they've left certain things that have to be addressed. I mean, one character is seemingly killed, and they have to fix that somehow.
Yeah.
As you say, though, the villains are coming back. We know the main villains are coming back. I mean,
Yes,
Captain Cold.
And they're going to be in the spinoff too. Captain Cold and Heatwave are going to be in the spinoff.
Right.
too.
I guess they're going to have a Rogues series.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, that I was talking to someone else about this, and they said that there were reviews online complaining about the first half hour of this, devoted to character. But, you miss the point. The characters make this.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
don't care for the characters, I could care less about him running fast and the villains. You got to care for these people, and I think that's been the masterstroke of this series.
And what happened to the police officer? the captain, which means to me that Joe's going to have to end up being captain.
Yeah, and finally we get the moment between Barry and Iris we've been waiting for.
Yeah, only for something to...
Yeah, we know it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show at this point can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Really,
and I know
can't.
that seems to be a comment that paints it into a corner, but it has just steadily gotten better.
And Grodd will finally be making an appearance before the end of the season.
Right.
I thought we were going to get it till season 2. I thought they were going to hold it out, but no, they're giving it to us right now, and I'm so excited.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be General Eiling, or whatever's left of General Eiling, and Grodd, and Reverse Flash, all involved in something this season, which I think is going to be great. Really strong writing for that episode, but I don't know. But to me, something actually eclipses that, and that's Better Call Saul. In the past 2 to 3 weeks that we've been watching the episodes, we had a Mike Solo episode that was fantastic. Jonathan Banks just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, great actor.
Great actor. Great whole episode to just show his backstory. Because we got hints of that at Breaking Bad, but we didn't really get the full picture, and this time we do. The heartbreak of what happens directly after that, in the sense that Jimmy has a big standoff with the Kettlemans, his first case, back from episode 2. And just the whole... I'm trying not to reveal too much, but we might as well reveal everything.
He has to make a decision as far as where his well-being financially is concerned, and as he calls it, doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
But really, is he doing the right thing? I mean, I felt as though he had painted himself in a corner on that as well.
He really did.
I mean, he can't go down with that ship.
Yeah, he can't. He had to do the right thing. There was no other option. But the heartbreak of him having to lose what he loses.
Right, but I think, though, that what he's going to gain in that is, you know, obviously there's something brewing between him and the female attorney. I can't remember her name. Beautiful woman.
No idea.
But that obviously is going to come together at some point. And in doing what he does, I think that he fosters some goodwill with her.
Oh, definitely. And Chuck, his brother, is getting back out there.
Yeah, boy, he's all screwed up. Michael McKean has some sort of aversion, psychological aversion to electricity, which has crippled him in a major way.
In a major way,
yeah, he's trying to get back out into the world, I guess. You know, I like this film. I like this series because, you know, we know Saul from Breaking Bad, and we see small indications here of how his character grows. The stunt that he pulls in order to get more publicity with the billboard.
Which I didn't realize it was a stunt until you and I started talking about it, and then I watched it again. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You know, that is pure Saul from Breaking Bad. So we see those seeds being planted that we know are going to blossom into this character.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I'm still, they still are holding enough cards close to their vest so that we don't know how he exactly becomes the person he is.
Right, and I would say that Vince Gilligan and the creator of the character of Saul created a world of such richness with Breaking Bad, and they're just enhancing on it now. It's like watching Bob Ross say that he's going to do a landscape, and he's just doing all these tiny things, and you can't see what it is yet.
Right, you can't see the
and now
forest.
They're just making little enhancements, little improvements that make the landscape that they've outlined so much more rich and inviting and lush.
And many people were skeptical about this, thought that it was just going to be something that they were going to cash in on. And the writing, you know, if you're a good writer, I guess, no matter what you do, it's going to have that solidity to it. And the writing's there and the characters are there.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s also making some really good pushes this week, but I need a better lead into Age of Ultron, because there isn't really anything that's pushing. Last season they had it, though, because they used the whole defecting of Hydra from Captain America Winter Soldier to springboard off of that and do some amazing things. But it hasn't quite happened yet with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They keep building toward the Inhumans movie, but that's so far off that I don't know how that's actually going to help the show. But what films are you excited for in the next coming weeks?
Oh, let me see. Is there anything I'm excited about? Well, obviously, other than the Avengers, but that's about 6 weeks away at this
Yeah.
point. Um, Off the top of my head, I would say no. Fast 7 is coming out in a couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
which I'm excited for.
Those are hit and miss movies for me. Wasn't crazy about the last one. I love the fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the death of Paul Walker and how they're going to spin that off. I know they have 3 more in the pipe, apparently.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize till I read the other day that this is Universal Studios' most successful franchise ever.
I knew
Which
that, yeah.
stuns me.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they're going to milk this thing till it runs out of gas.
Yeah. And it should be a really, really interesting film, knowing that they've added Jason Statham to the mix.
I guess, yeah.
Um,
Obviously, from the commercial, they are going for broke with the stunts.
they really are. I have to say, I did see one trailer that kind of interested me, but I don't think it's out till July. They're doing a reboot of the Transformers franchise, apparently.
I mean, the transporter.
Oh, Transporter, yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, they're doing a reboot of the Transporter franchise called Transporter Refueled, and it looks okay. It doesn't look that great.
Maybe they should call it Transporter Transformed.
Hey, and that's a better title.
See?
Much catchier
They
title.
should just call us.
Yeah, they really should. We need to be advisors on some sort of big budget action film so we can actually show them how to film action scenes, because people seem to forget that constantly. But yeah, I think that's all we have for this week. Chuck, any other parting pieces of film advice you want to give? I know that Selma is being reintroduced into theaters again.
Why?
I don't know why, though.
I was going to say, I
They're
don't
doing
understand.
a 2-for-1, apparently, where you can watch Selma and another movie.
Okay.
I don't know why they're doing it, because, I mean...
I would think its shelf life is done.
I can't say yes or no to that, but it seems like they're going to do it again. Quickly, I want to have your thoughts on Chappie.
Have not seen Chappie yet. Have not gotten to it.
Okay.
So I can't give you any thoughts. All I would say is get to the art theater. And also, the drive-in at Harvest Moon Drive-In in Gibson City has reopened as well. Make sure that you frequent that venue as well. We're lucky to have the art, and we're lucky to have the drive-in so close as well.
I agree. I agree completely. The last film I saw at the drive-in was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I can't imagine seeing that film any other way than at the drive-in. So until next time, I'm Chike Coleman. You can find my reviews at thewheelchairwatcher.com. You can find Chuck Kaplinsky's reviews at thenewsgazette.com and also at the Illinois Times. Ebert Fest is coming up. We've only had 2 movies revealed for that, so we'll probably talk about that next week or the week after. Until then, we will see you next time. Bye, guys.